Good morning, students. Welcome to the Rishkul Online School. It is class 9th, Science, Chapter 6, Lecture number 7. And today we are going to study about animal tissue. In my previous lectures, I told you about plant tissues and their types. We have done it in detail. Now we are going to start animal tissue. An animal tissue is of 4 types. Here you can see. First is epithelial tissue. Second is connective tissue. Third is muscular tissue. And fourth is nervous tissue. So in this video lecture, I am going to tell you about epithelial tissue. So these are the 4 types of animal tissue. Because we are learning about the tissues which are made up of cells, and these are present in living organisms, and living organisms are plants and animals. Plant tissues we have covered, and now we are going to start the animal tissues. So let's start the first type of animal tissue, and that is epithelial tissue. My dear students, what is epithelial tissue? Epithelial tissue is the covering or protective tissue in the animal body. It means it is the covering on all the organs in the body. And second point is it covers most organs and cavities within the body. Most of the organs, living organisms, multicellular organisms, they are made up of cells and then tissues grouped together to form organs. So most of the organs have covering of epithelial tissue. For example, skin, that is of epithelial tissue. The inner lining of our mouth, the lining of the blood vessels, all are made up of epithelial tissue. Now, what is the structure of this epithelial tissue? Because its nature is protective and it is the outer covering. That is why the cells are tightly packed in this type of tissue, and when the cells are tightly packed, so they form a continuous sheet. So this is the structure of epithelial tissue. Then we will see that what is the function of this epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue, which forms a continuous sheet, it plays an important role in regulating the exchange of materials within the body and external environment, and also different parts of the body. Means the exchange of materials from within the inside the body and external environment, and with the external environment to different parts of the body, that takes place by the epithelial tissue. So this is all about the epithelial tissue, its structure and its functions. So now we will learn about what are the types of epithelial tissue, which is the first type of animal tissue. We will see the different type of epithelial tissues are present in our body. First type is squamous epithelium tissue. Second is stratified epithelial tissue. Third is columnar epithelial tissue, and fourth type of epithelial tissue is cuboidal epithelium tissue. So these are the 4 types of epithelial tissue. In this video lecture, we are going to study about 2 types of epithelial tissue, that is squamous and stratified epithelial tissue. Other 2 types, columnar and cuboidal epithelium, that we will cover in next video lecture. So let's come to the first type of epithelial tissue, that is squamous epithelium tissue. In a squamous epithelial tissue, the cells are thin and flat. You can see in the diagram, the cells are very thin and they are flat, and they are arranged end to end like tiles on the floor. My dear students, as you must have seen the floorings in your houses, the tiles, they are arranged end to end. Likewise, in epithelial tissue, the cells are thin and flat in structure, and they are arranged end to end like tiles on the floor. Then second point is epithelial cells are arranged in many layers to prevent wear and tear in skin. I told you before also that this type of tissue is present in skin, inner lining of mouth, esophagus. So these are the locations where epithelial tissue is present. And it is arranged in many layers, as you can see in the diagram. Layers are there. So it prevents wear and tear in the skin. So now we will see that what are its locations. Locations I told you before also. Basically it is present in the skin, lining of the cavities, mouth, esophagus. Esophagus means food pipe. Here also squamous epithelium tissue is present. So these are thin, flat and arranged like tiles on the floor. This is all about squamous epithelium tissue, its structure and locations and its functions. Now I will show you the broad diagram of this type of tissue, that is squamous epithelium tissue, in which you can see the cells, they are arranged end to end like a continuous sheet, like the tiles on the floor. Here you can see on your screen. This is the broad structure you can see of squamous epithelium tissue. The cells are arranged end to end and cells are thin and flat in structure. Now my dear students, let's come to the second type of epithelial tissue, and that is stratified squamous epithelium tissue. Now in this type of tissue, as I told you, the squamous epithelial tissue in which the cells are flat and thin and arranged end to end, many squamous epithelial tissues are arranged in layers and it forms the stratified epithelium tissue. And basically it forms the surface of skin. So many squamous epithelium tissue, in the diagram also you can see the first layer of squamous epithelium tissue, then on above it second layer is there, and above it third layer is there. So in this way you can see the squamous epithelium tissue are arranged in layers and it forms a stratified epithelium tissue, and it forms the surface of skin. It is its location and its function is to prevent the wear and tear of the skin. So this is the second type of epithelium tissue. So we have covered two types of epithelial tissues, and now in my next video lecture I will tell you about other two types of epithelial tissues. Thank you.